working on this stuff here. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to CptsLogs Podcast.
Hello.
Mark's here. How do you like your view? Your things?
Look good.
That's not fine.
I don't have the fat head going on, at least for now.
Out. Yeah. Did you want to adjust your mic there so it's not? It's up to you. Doesn't matter. There we go. Cool. Anyways, it's gonna be a good day. We're gonna go back to some of the basic stuff here. We'll talk a lot to come. A lot of guests. We have planned out the future, all types, different area for CptsLogs Podcast. Literally everything aviation, more. You know, aircraft, planes, and all that stuff. Food. We had the Chateau one night stand on for the last episode, and it was pretty good. Yeah.
Hungry just thinking about it.
It's pretty good just learning about. I mean, it wasn't a long podcast, but it was good learning about like some of the basic stuff here. You know, it'd be good to have him back on and some other people.
Yeah.
Talk about what they do, and then you have different types of, food trucks and vendors. You know, he has a food truck, so he talked about the business side about it a little bit, but
right.
You know, but then you have those guys that are food vendors who have like little vendor stuff, like the lemonade stand. That like what they do, they go to these events and they sell food and the stuff that goes with it. So it'll be interesting to learn more about that. And then obviously we'll have as we're preparing for our November drone race to fundraise event, we'll have our charity partner and so forth. But we'll get back to that. We'll talk about that some other time. Today we're more focused on the everything aviation part.
Yes. The part that I actually know about, not business. I can contribute.
You can contribute to this?
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But yeah, it is kind of good to get back into the basic, I guess, even though it's all one, but the general aviation stuff and talk about the basic and what is required and whatnot. But I had to renew my FAA first class medical.
Right.
This month we're in July, and I'm 39. Well, I'm 39.
Almost there.
Well, I'm 39. Yeah, geez, it's crazy.
It's all downhill after this year.
Well, it already feels like it's going downhill. Like I need to start getting. I used to really, really spend a lot of time in the gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's more of just. I think that. What?
Yeah, me too, but not since like my 20s.
Oh, really? I feel like my 30s in the gym has been pretty horrible. Yeah, my late 30s has been pretty horrible. The last couple years have been pretty bad.
Well, do you have a gym membership?
Well, I usually have a gym at my place.
That's what I'm saying. You don't really have a place anymore.
Well, I don't really tell people that.
A solid place that you're at like all the time, right?
Well, the hotels have gyms. Stuff like
that. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like depending on where I'm at, if I'm in everywhere. There's usually a gym where I am. If I'm at an Airbnb or whatever it is, kind of thing. So, I usually don't tell people that I don't have a. But sure. Well,
I didn't go that. I just said you don't have a normal.
It's okay.
Even if you did, you'd never be there.
Yeah, that's why I don't have one because I'm never there.
Right.
But so yeah, the point I wanted to make was that at 40, you have to do. It goes down from doing your FAA medical once a year to twice a year, right? Is that what it is? Every 6 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just missed that threshold. I'm still 39. I'm not 40 yet. So I was able to go in and get my medical to give me another year.
One last full year.
Yeah. And then she was like, okay, you're still 39, so you don't have to do your EKG. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
God,
more money.
Yeah. But let's talk about that.
Sure.
The Mark Attack here is a certified flight instructor, more current.
I was going to say, so are you.
Yeah, a more current flight instructor. And when I was going through my, what is it called, MedLink? Or no, MedExpress?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about what that is for the, or should I do it? Like when you get your medical, what is required? Is that required from the beginning? Or I don't remember.
The MedExpress?
Yeah.
Well, that didn't exist, I don't think, when back when we both started. I think that's fairly new. I don't know within what the time frame was. It existed kind of, because I took a break for a long time. from flying and all that good stuff. So when I returned, it was there. But yeah, you have to fill that out. So you fill that out, they give you a number, and that's what the FAA examiner is looking up to find out who you are, and attaches you to your pilot record and all that stuff. So without that, if you just go in for an appointment and you don't bring that number, either you fill it out right there in the office, or you have to reschedule because they can't really see it without that.
Yeah, what do you fill out? Do you remember?
Well, it's been several months since my last one, but I know it's just I don't know, kind of the typical things you would fill out when you do your, when you go in for like just a normal doctor's checkup, right?
Yeah.
Family history, things you're allergic to, issues, right? Medications, things of that nature.
Yeah.
I think there might be total time put on there that they ask you for flight hour stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. They're asking, and really, you want to talk about the medical is like, why, if you're brand new to the industry, I don't know, maybe you're 16. You need one when you're 16, yeah. I'm assuming, at all age.
You need anytime you need a medical anytime you're going to act as PIC. So, and back in our time, our medical certificate was actually our student pilot certificate. So if you didn't have that, then you weren't technically a student pilot. So, but now that's separate. So now your student pilot certificate actually looks like a normal private pilot certificate, just a student on it.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, same privileges that you had before. But yeah, you would have to have your medical before your first solo, anything along those lines.
Oh, okay.
Because anybody can fly, but you have to have somebody who can act as pilot in command, and that pilot in command has to have a valid medical.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Sounds good. Yeah. So it had, basic information, address, it's medical information, data, blood pressure, your high blood pressure, and then asked about your family. And then, then it came in and started asking about, why are you getting this? Is it for your employees and employer or whatever it is? And
right.
Then, what
who
your
you
job
work
is
for.
and so forth. And then it asks about how many hours you've flown in the last. And I'm like, oh, God, I whip this damn thing out and figure this thing out and do the math.
Do you have an electronic logbook?
So this company that I fly for does it for you.
Right.
So you can actually, I'll show it to you. You can actually go in there and like filter what you want.
Yeah.
And it gives you an actual logbook you can print out.
Gotcha.
So you don't have to like record it. So you can actually print that out, drop it in the back of your logbook, and that's considered like an actual logbook. And it's done correctly.
Nice.
Kind of thing. Aircraft tail number and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, same here. Just real quick on that, unless you want to come back to that. But if you don't have an electronic logbook, people, you got to get one because the electronic logbook's beautiful. Like I took the time and entered all of my paper logs into an electronic. But yeah, I could open my phone right now and tell you how much I've flown in the last 12 days, 60 days, 90 days, a year. Mm-hmm. How much time I have at each aircraft. If I wanted to, I could pick out a certain aircraft and see how much time I have on it. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So that just is referred to like, all the way up to pre-ATP or pre-airline. Keep your logbook in check, man.
Oh, yeah.
Don't let that thing, because, obviously, guys in the airline don't care about logbook. You'll see some older guys will have like they carry like a mini logbook and they'll still write down their time, but it's more for pay. I think this for tracking hours and whatnot. Maybe, I don't know. But obviously, a lot of guys in the airlines they just don't track that stuff anymore. They don't care.
Is it the dispatcher's job or the airline's job to keep track of your duty times?
Duty time is both you and the operator is required.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you need to log your time just so you can prove that you're following the mandates for duty times?
Yeah. If you care about that stuff and if you're working that much, we know you're going to get close to that.
Gotcha.
You would do it. But it depends on the operation, obviously. It's like for my operation, we never get to that point because we don't fly that much. Duty day, like singular day, like in the daytime, like a full day operation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even different with like augmented, when you're doing augmented is when you're doing like 3 crew, 4 crew.
Yeah.
You can have a duty day.
Going back and forth.
21 hours with that, depending on what you're doing. So, So yeah, and you have depending on the airline, I think. Because I don't think for our company it's required per FAA, but you get a page of each crew member duty hours and when they drop, like drop time, depending on what they're doing, kind of thing. We were told a lot though that it's not required, to be in the packet in the release. So, but yeah, it is both. Yeah, it's both you and the operator. But you'll know if you're looking at your flight hours and you're like, the hell? I mean, at the like at American and whatnot, Alpa has a like an app that tracks that stuff for you. Where you can put your hours in and all that stuff. And it'll tell you kind of that information. And then if you do care about that stuff, where you're kind of thinking it's an issue, you have ways to figure that stuff out. Yeah. And it just depends on how far you are in your career. If you're a senior major airline,
and you're not flying more than like twice a month,
or something like that. You're not going anywhere else, Exactly, we're not flying a couple times a month. You don't care about your flight hours because you're never going to exceed it, kind of thing.
I know, in the CFI world, at some of these bigger schools where instructors are flying a lot, you got to keep an eye on that because you'll exceed your 8-hour flying minimum or maximum. So
100%, yeah,
and all the other
throughout the month,
the week, the month, 24 hours, all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And then a lot of schools also have duty time as well. So yeah, you can fly 8 hours here, but 10 hours max. So you can do 8 hours flying, 10 hours total contact time, right? Where you get to be with a student or working on work, and then you got to go take a rest. And it's hard to keep track of when you're doing it that much. And there's some good, there's some decent. I got a decent app that tracks all that. Not that I fly enough to really worry about it, but our school actually that I work at, we have to keep, no matter how little or much you fly, we have to keep track. They can stage check or ramp check us and say, show us your logbook, like. Prove to us you're within 8 hours and how you can prove that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems a little strict, but it's a good thing. It keeps us all. It's better them than the FAA, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So anyways, not to go back to what you're talking about, so we can use those electronic logbooks. Really easy to find those. All right, how much did you fly in the last 30 days, 24 hours, 12 days, year, whatever?
You recommend one? Because I used to use it back. When I first started with this operator, because when you first start with an operator, you just never know if you're going to be leaving and going somewhere else. So you want to keep that stuff. I don't as much anymore, because I obviously it's logged in the platform, so I use that
right
kind of thing. But what do you recommend? Is there one specific one you recommend? Do you want to sponsor us? He's about to say it. I better get a sponsor for this.
Yeah. I use Log10 Pro. Which is, have you heard of that? Sorry for you Windows users, though. It's only based Mac and Apple products.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At least it was the last time I checked. I'm pretty sure it still is, which is sort of a downfall. But yeah, I use that, and you can, I'm sure pretty much any logbook, you can set it up any way you want, add different fields, if you're other pilots, different types of times, log your approaches. Basically everything in an electronic logbook. But the other thing it does is gives you multiple printout options of formats, different formats, JEP formats, this, that, and the other. So depending on your airline interview, if you're getting ready for that, you could print out your logbook and make it look really nice. So yeah, you're welcome, Log10 Pro.
It's funny. You're not going to be welcome for this, Log10 Pro, because I'm about to say some stuff. As you mentioned, all that stuff, which is great. I'm thinking, man, we probably just rebuild that stuff with AI.
You can. It's just a big Excel sheet. That's all it is. But if you're like me and don't want to spend your time building an Excel sheet and doing that, then
how much does it cost monthly or annually?
Well, actually, it's free. For pilots until you get to your commercial, and then it's $120 a year, something along those lines.
Okay. I'm not talking about an Excel. I'm talking about an actual log. You can.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
But it's doing the functions of an Excel sheet.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I could probably build something that like calls you, like, hey man, like calls your phone number and say, hey, you need to go do I'm capable of that stuff now.
Good. One more thing for me to ignore. I'd be like, fuck.
Hey, call you and be like, hey, you need to go do a freaking some landings.
Yeah.
Imagine that your logbook calls you, like, dude, you're about to.
Or even just a text. That's kind of a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, hey, dude, you're within, you got 10 days to go get 2 approaches or whatever.
Yeah. It actually, and then if you don't respond, it keeps bothering you until you do it.
Starts calling you like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
wake
Mark.
your ass up.
Mark.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's really not.
Hey, cut this part out of the podcast.
I mean, it already knows. It keeps track. So, like, I can, on my first page that I look at, it shows, all right, how many days till I'm not current anymore with night, with day, with instrument, with all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what's one more thing where it just sends you a little ping and like, hey,
I wonder if it does. It probably does, too.
If it doesn't now, it will now. Once again, you're welcome for Logged In Pro. Yeah. He thought he was a detriment, but...
Yeah. Good. Yeah. So yeah. The FAA Medical. So you need to. Okay. So let's talk about that. As we go back to the basic fundamental of what is required to become a pilot.
Yeah. That's the first thing you want to do, because if you can't get a medical, you're not going to become a pilot. So before anybody does anything, go make sure you can get a medical.
Yeah. An FAA medical, not just go.
Yeah, don't go to your doctor and be like, I need a medical. And have him write something on like a piece of paper. Yeah. He's good.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, kind of thing, yeah. Perfect. And now the medical, because now you're, and then you have to apply for the student pilot. How does that even work? Because back, like you said, back when we did it, you get the medical, and behind it was your student pilot license. You signed that kind of thing. So it asks you what you're trying to attain in the Med Express. You're trying to get, a first class. I think it asks for second class or student pilot. I think it asks for all those stuff. But yeah, so you're trying to get a first class student pilot license. What you're trying to attain. So if you click student pilot license, you get that mailed to you separately. Is that how that works? You probably don't know because
you don't do that in the Med Express for your student pilot. You actually fill out a NIACRA, which is like the same FAA website that you fill out after you do like a check ride, or applying for a check ride. And so you fill out. I think it's an 8710, if I remember right.
Yeah, 8710.
Luckily, my school does it all, so I don't have to worry about that stuff.
Oh, for the student?
Yeah, because they do it all during enrollment.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so you get your medical, and then once you get your medical, then you can go, and usually you have a flight instructor help you out, because you have to create an account, and you get what's called the FTN number, which is going to be your stamp for life as a pilot with the FAA. And then, you just fill out the IACRA, basically an application. They send you the student. I can't say I've seen it because I don't have to deal with it. Okay. But I'm pretty sure that's just how it works. And then if you're a foreign pilot, if you're not a U.S. citizen, then you have to do some TSA stuff as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then you are ready to go flying, right? Yep. Is that pretty much?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're
medical,
ready to go.
Depending on what you're doing. If it's, like actual organized, standardized school, you just want to go to like a regular little chop shop somewhere. Either way.
Yeah, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then what aircraft usually you fly as a student pilot? So I'm going to go whip out let me get a picture here if you want to. Generally, in today's market, right, is the Cessna still the Cessna or the Archer or still the standardized training platform?
Yeah, I'd say the Cessna, like 172, 152, or 150.
152.
Piper Archers. If you're going in a smaller school / just like independent instructor, you're probably going to be in a Cherokee, something a little older, Warrior. But they're all kind of the same airplane, really. Some little differing horsepower. Most trainers range around, I'm going to say 140 horsepower to about 180, which is where you want to be as far as I'm concerned. As an instructor and a pilot, see people start, and let's say like a doctor comes into play and he wants to buy a Cirrus, like a high performance Cirrus or a 182 or something that's a little bit faster. They don't realize is you can get behind pretty quickly on a more high performance airplane. So no matter what you want to buy in the future, if you want to buy a plane because you have the money, I prefer you'd still want to start in a smaller, slower aircraft, like an Archer or a 172 or something along those lines.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you're renting, there's going to be a monster price difference too between a 172 and a 182 or 210.
Well, it does seem like it does seem like all the on there, slow you on here. All the rich people go towards the Cirruses, but it's really designed. Like those aircraft were designed specifically for that kind of platform, I think. Like,
it can definitely be done, and it is. There's plenty of people who get their private pilot's license in a Cirrus.
Yeah, like it's.
And I'm talking like the turbo, you know.
Yeah, like it's designed for that. It's designed for like they're not designed. The Cirruses are not designed for you to be a commercial pilot, ATP pilot platform. It's designed for business people or who travels a lot and want to get their own aircraft for that reason. So it's probably gonna. I'm assuming that's the case. The majority of those are
well, to be fair, Cirrus, again, I'm thinking of like the SR-22Ts or whatever. They do make a lower horsepower, more beginner airplane as well, which look the same.
Well, I think if you start off in a specific horsepower platform, that's where you start, and that's what you're used to. That's what you become used. That's what you're used to. What do you think?
Sure.
Like if you don't,
but I'm just saying there's more margin for error in a high performance airplane. That's why a high performance airplane comes with its own endorsement because there's other things to learn. So I think you're better time figuring things out at a slower pace. If you're doing your instrument training and you're cruising to a hold at 180 knots, 170 knots or whatever, when you could be cruising at 120 or something, that's a big difference to, all right, let's get the checklist done. Let's get the plane configured. Let's talk to ATC. Let's do our checklist. You know what I mean? The faster you're approaching something, the less time you have to get your workload done. And that takes practice as well, right?
It just depends on the platform. No, I mean, I agree.
I'm not saying it can't be done. It obviously can be done. I'm just saying it.
If you're learning it from the start.
It's one more thing you're going to have to deal with. You could make it a little easier on yourself if you didn't have to deal with that, and then you can incorporate that later.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think if you're trying to be like an airline pilot, and that's where you're going, where you're doing step by step, and you're moving up. So you start with a single engine platform, you go to your multi-engine, you go to your high performance, to your jet, and then learning all those basic as you move up. I think, yeah. But if you're an aircraft owner, I can see you just want to get that because you can't go buy another. You just want to get that aircraft because you can be trained specifically based on that aircraft. So I agree. If you're 100% agree. If you're going to a life, industry type or to a career, yeah. You want to start a Cessna 172. You don't want to be starting off with a high performance. You want to slowly, because that's all money as well. You want to slowly. But if you're, But if you're, I think that's how that's why Cirrus. I think that's the platform is built on that. If you're an aircraft, if you have money, you want to buy a new aircraft, and it has all those glitz and all glamour, all that stuff, and there's ways you can be taught. You're right. There's more things to do. Maybe not even depending on the aircraft I was designed. Like in Cirrus, it's less because you're flying autopilot and all that stuff. But you just train based on the time frame. If you're going 200 knots, that specific aircraft is designed for that, so you just have to be trained specifically for that, that time frame. Or, for example, we do our on the 76, we do our briefing. Sometimes it's ridiculous. We do like our build and all that stuff with the the approach and everything. Dude, sometimes we're like an hour out.
We'll get it done.
Sometimes you're an hour, 45 minutes out, and we're building that thing, briefing it, and I'm like, we're done? All right, we're done.
But you don't always have that option when you're training. I mean, like we flew out of Gateway Airport. You did too. So you do a lot of your approaches at Casa Grande. That's 15 minutes. You got 15 minutes to do your takeoff briefing, your climb checklist, your cruise, your calls, your ATC, start preparing for the hold, right? So that...
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, like United Aviate, they have a fleet of Cirruses. Mm-hmm. I don't know what their horsepower is. It's not 200 plus, but
I don't
think.
If you're going to buy a Cirrus, I think if you're like a doctor, for example, or you're Jamaican bacon.
Yeah. Cirrus jet.
Yeah. Let's talk about, that. So you're going to buy a Cirrus jet. You've never flown a plane before. You're a doctor. This is my opinion too, by the way. So whatever it is you are, all right, a businessman, and you're learning to fly. I think you want to get immersed into that aircraft. You almost, if you're not going to be switching around and doing anything else, that's the only aircraft you're going to fly, and that's your aircraft, and it belongs to you. You're going to use it. Yeah, you want to be immersed into it in a way where that's all you know, almost, in a sense. What do you think?
I disagree.
Okay.
But we'll be civil, mainly because I think, no offense, well, that's not really offense, but you've been gone from the students for so long that I think if you still taught today, I don't think you would say the same thing, because these guys, whether they're adults who have money or they're young guys who just got out of high school, they are saturated, man. I wouldn't want to teach and like a Mooney. I mean, those things cruise so quick. Never. Yeah. These guys get so far behind that, and gals. Yeah, but maybe the gals don't. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You get accustomed to what you're flying.
Right.
Like if you go ahead. No,
you still have that workload, so you're immersing them in something that they shouldn't really be focused on. They need to be focused on the fundamentals and aerodynamics, and all that stuff. I think you're just putting way too much work on them on top of that. Now, in the long run, obviously it's going to be beneficial, because now, as they once said, like, when I first started, I remember them telling me first day, like, yeah, it's going to feel a little weird at first. You're going to fly, but by the end of this program, that you're going to feel like the plane is a part of you. Like, it's just wrapped down, which I never got, by the way. The plane has never felt like it's been wrapped around me. I feel like that process would take longer than to focus on sort of one thing at a time. So I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, but there's I see where you're coming from too. I understand where you're coming from. And you're probably, because the fundamentals is important. So I guess that's what you're saying, which is very important. I agree. But you can also, which is very unlikely. You can technically get like a, which has never happened. I don't know if it's happened or not. You can get a private pilot license at like a 7.3. Is that?
Yeah, I wouldn't see why not.
But it's very unlikely.
That now you're adding multi-engine to it.
Yeah.
Jet.
But it's
high altitude.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Where the fundamentals for the long term is important, kind of thing. How do they do the training at Cirrus? Like, are you required to have for example, a Cirrus jet? Are you required to have? This is a good topic, because I don't know, right? Are you required to have a license before to get into that type?
Couldn't tell you.
Could you just?
I mean, as you said before, and I would imagine that if you have enough money, you can do whatever you want, because it's within the law.
Yeah.
You would have to be one ballsy flight instructor, though, to just be like, here's your first time landing a plane, and it's a Vision jet. You know what I mean? Yeah, I remember the first time when you were taking out the SR-22Ts, and you let me do that approach. That thing sinks pretty quick when you pull that power out, and just, I don't know, it takes a little more finesse, I thought.
Yeah, but the thing is, the student won't know. Like that's
but I'm just talking about that first landing, dude. That'd be a little. As an instructor, it's a little. That'd be nerve wracking.
Yeah, but
if it's less forgiving.
Even like what I'm saying is that a student won't. I'm
talking about the instructor. As the instructor, it's gonna be a little sketch.
But even the first landing with like a regular 172 with a student is still.
Hell yeah, it is.
Still sketch. So it's the same.
But I know it's gonna float in ground effect for days as long as they get their speed right. And
but as an instructor for that particular aircraft, like if you fly with an instructor for 7.6, like we go in there as a student in the sim, and you're going there doing. You got instructors going in there doing like. I've had one instructor come in and do like. It's in the sim, so we can say it. But we're in there like struggling, fighting this thing, and he comes in and do a land on like one wheel, on the side wheel, and rolling that thing down a runway kind of thing, and he take off and come back. And these are things, I'm assuming as an instructor, you hopefully, then again, you have that capability understanding of what's prepared to happen. Prepare yourself to what is about to happen. But the point I'm trying to make is that the student won't know any different based on any other experience because they've never flown a plane before. So what they're seeing is for the first time is what they're. So instructor goes, add the power to or thrust to 10%. Pitch the nose down to 1 degree, and that's what you want to do on a landing, and that's what they've never seen anything else. So that's what they get accustomed to. But I don't know. I want to see how. I want to see how.
I guess I'm just saying it would take you a lot longer to be accustomed to that than to be accustomed to
a Cessna?
The small, right, easygoing plane. I mean, there's a reason why they exist.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the stuff is based on cost, though.
Well, that absolutely.
Yeah, like if they could, because think about it too. Like, it used to be like, was it $300, $400? You're in a freaking jet, kind of thing. Now it's. It's whatever reason they decide to do it, kind of thing. But it can be done if it was cheap enough. Trust me, if it was cheap enough to do it. Yeah.
The other thing is that, it's kind of outside of the. It's not exactly what we're talking about. It's just another variable. But
I'm listening. I want to hear it.
When you have the faster planes, higher horsepower, and I'm just going back to SR-22s. A Mooney, something along those lines that are pretty fast single-engine piston airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to find an instructor that has time and experience in that plane to teach. So you're closing the door on your locations and your places to go where you can do that because a lot of insurances now will say, yeah, if you want to own this plane, you have to have 25, 50 hours with an instructor. And then that instructor has to have a certain amount of time in that airplane as a CFI as well. So I don't know how many people you're going to find who have what would insurance require for somebody to get their private pilot's license in a Vision jet?
Well, you made a good point because I'm reading this here, and I think Sirius agrees with you. So you might be right. Training for the Sirius SF-50 Vision jet requires a private pilot license, an instrument rated.
Sure.
A specialized.
Well, you're going to fly above 18,000 feet, so.
You mean the instrument? Yeah, definitely a private pilot license. Well, yeah, private pilot license you would get with the Sirius jet, or you would get it as part of the type. I'm assuming. Okay.
Your instrument?
No, the private pilot.
Oh yeah, I mean you'd have to do it all in the one shebang then.
Yeah. So it requires a private pilot. It says training Vision jet. So the training requires it. So I'm assuming you're getting all that. An instrument. It would be tough to get an instrument like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. But then unless you're just flying, unless they're training the instrument based on the aircraft, so you can only, this is how you do a hold with this aircraft. If they request you to do a hold, this is how you do it.
But they're not going to strictly ask you about that in the check ride, right? I mean, possibly. I guess it doesn't super specify. Well, I guess that goes. I guess that goes either way. If you fly a small plane, they can still ask you about, what's the speed limit and a hold at 14,000+ feet.
Yeah, but yeah, and plus you can
even though it doesn't pertain to you at the moment because you're flying a Piper Archer.
Yeah, and then also the aircraft you can only activating the hole a certain way. Like if they give you all the instructions in a 7.6, you're not gonna hand fly the thing.
Right.
You have to program it. So there's only certain ways you can do it that is correct. That makes it correct for you to be passed. You can't just go, well, I don't know how to do it in the box. I'm just gonna hand fly this thing.
Yeah. All right, let's give it a try.
So as part of the check ride, but interesting. It is the process involves. Yeah. Okay. So private pilot license, which you would get with the training, and an instrument with the training as well, and a specialized multi-week type rating course, for the type. So I guess you'll have to. You can get your private pilot in the jet using the sim, right? And then you can also get your instrument in the jet using the sim. And then the process involves comprehensive online pre-study, in-person ground school, advanced. Okay. So I mean that's how it's done. So you can be nobody and go, I'm going to buy a Vision jet. But you're right. You're right, though. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, there is a limitations on their knowledge of what they're doing overall. Ground flight training, supervised operation, SOE.
The other thing to think about too is like private pilot. Let's say you're doing it in a Vision jet, right? Mm-hmm. All right, let's go back to basics here. How do you do ground reference maneuvers? I mean, I'm sure it could be done, but imagine being 600 to 800 feet above the ground for a ground reference maneuver, and your jet engine's just blowing through fuel.
Well, are you required to do that in the jet for the private pilot?
A private pilot is a private pilot, man. ACS is the ACS. It don't matter what you're doing it in. There's tasks to be done, and those ground reference maneuvers are part of them. You have S-turns. You have turns around a point. You have, what are other ground reference maneuvers? Sorry, guys, I took a semester off. I haven't been teaching.
Yeah, sorry I did. Yeah. Anybody watching? Somebody. That's what it's in the chat here.
It's probably me.
That's AI bot. Goddamn AI. I'm assuming that's not something you would be required.
You'd have to. That's part of the private pilot ACS. You have to complete those tasks to get your private pilot certificate.
Okay. What are...
You have steep turns, slow flight, stalls. Obviously, emergency procedures, which you'd probably do anyways. Not probably, you would.
I mean, FAA does give waivers and stuff like that. So,
soft field landing, short field landings.
Ground school flight training is a minimum of 50. Is a maneuvers and crosses. A complete required training in real world country navigation, instruments, solo hours in a Cirrus jet. This is interesting stuff because I can't see you going down there doing freaking
That's what I'm saying. That's the problem.
SF-50 required FAA command.
They'd have to take you up in there's a normal SR-22 or something to perform those. But then your check ride, how's your check ride going to be done?
Required by the FAA to command the jet administrator through current flight.
I'm thinking you might be reading that wrong. I think they want you to come in with the private pilots.
Okay, let's see. Let's just do this.
This is when I wish I had my soundboard working so I could play the cricket sound.
Let's see here. Yeah, if you're talking about the Vision jet in the United States, you must already hold at least a private pilot certificate airplane single engine land before you can earn SF type rating. You cannot go directly from no pilot certificate to an SF50 type. So you were absolutely right.
And I think it would be a complete headache, but I could see doing your instrument training there. But again, that goes back then fuel costs, right? Because jet engines don't work well in low altitudes.
Yeah, meet the experience. So yeah, so you have to, so all those prior pilot maneuvers, you already did it. So you were right on that stuff. All right, okay. Prior pilot instrument rate. If your goal is to fly a vision jet as quickly possible, a practical progress is build proficiency, purchase again. Okay, so yeah, you want to have all that stuff before you show up. So all these doctors and freaking lawyers already have their private pilots rolling in.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Hey.
All these businessmen is rolling. All right, let's go. I got more private pilot.
Got my fresh stamp on my instrument.
That's crazy. No, this is good. See, learned something today. That's good. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah, okay. That's good. Good to know. I'll put that on the topic there. Okay. And then you got to go through. It makes sense. You can't just roll in, but can you do that with that just might be the program for the. Can you get what about a 7? Probably not anymore. It wouldn't make any sense. I thought you can get a private pilot 7.
Well,
7.3.
What I mean, I didn't see why when we first started talking about it, but the ground reference maneuvers and stuff there's no way you could do it.
Can't go around that stuff. Yeah.
Imagine a 737 flying around at 600 feet,
it's a burning field.
circling your farm field. You're like, what the hell? What is going on, dude?
That's funny as hell. Okay, good stuff. Okay, now we know that. All right. Okay, so it seemed like you can't get around your private pilot in doing it the right way. You can't just jump in something big and be like, all right, I got it here. Let's go get a private pilot kind of thing.
Right.
Okay. All right. So at that point, medical, nowadays, how are the flight schools or the flight training industry nowadays, is it strong? And the way you can measure that is based on, are there a lot of instructors just waiting to freaking go to the airlines, or are they hiring a lot? Both?
Yeah, the airlines have got us backed up big time. There's a lot of CFIs waiting to go to regionals, and there's a lot of guys with fresh CFIs waiting to try to get into a school that can't get a job either. Things are backing up big time. Because with the COVID boom and everybody's, the pilot shortage, like people started throwing money around and going and training. Maybe because they wanted to really become a pilot, it was their dream, or maybe because they saw all the price tags that were coming along with it, right?
Yeah.
As far as like how much you can make as a professional pilot, and man, the schools got saturated, and they still are. There's still a lot of students out there. It's nuts.
There's still a lot of students out there?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you're saying, there's both. Because you're getting a lot of students, but also there's a lot of pilots, a lot of instructors trying to get hired. And yeah, okay, I see what you're saying there.
A lot of high-time instructors now.
Oh, really?
Waiting for calls.
On the calls?
And the airlines waiting for captains. They're not waiting for first officers. That's the problem.
What does that mean?
They have a shortage of captains because as far as regionals go, this is what I understand is the main lines are taking the captains. The regionals have so many fresh FOs that they can't be captains yet. So they're short on captains and bountiful on FOs.
Okay. So that's still going on, huh?
Yeah. So once the upgrades start happening, then you go. And then the regional airlines, man, they're throwing CJOs out or like conditional job offers out. You may not get a class until months. Yeah,
which is that's what it was back when we were.
It reminds me of those times.
Yeah, it's kind of the industry's kind of gone back to what it's kind of like the economy, right? It equalized itself. It feels like that's what it's at right now. Where
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Traditionally it was you get an offer and you're supposed to wait.
Right.
You're waiting for months, 2, 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 months before you get to class. And it's just your job not to lose.
Right. Don't lose your certificate.
Don't lose
the job offer.
Or the offer, right? Going out and do something stupid kind of thing.
Right.
it seemed like it's kind of back to that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha.
And it's competitive. You can't just be the Joe Schmo. But there's just I've got the 1,500 hours. Will you hire me? Like, you got to have. We've talked about it in the past. Degree.
Oh,
you don't need it.
They brought that back, huh? So you got to have a degree now?
Not a requirement. But I'm damn sure they're looking at it on their resumes, right? Because why would you take someone without one if you can get one with one? People with a lot of multi-time. Again,
really?
The requirements are still, or should I say the minimums are still as low as they were for the most part. But that doesn't mean the people who are looking at your resume are thinking the same thing. Like, they're preferred in what they're getting. They can be selective.
Yeah.
So you better have some good hours, good instrument time, good flying. If you're just renting an airplane and you're time building and all you're doing is flying from here to 60 miles away and coming back over and over and over again, that's not good flying. They want you teaching, or they want you to do real world flying. You're doing long cross country. You're looking at your
instrument time. You're looking at your you're looking at your log, like from point A to point. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
it's not just You're not just going around 50 miles and come back and touching. It's not
doing
touch and
nothing.
goes.
Yeah, but you gotta be doing something.
So they're looking at stuff. Interesting.
And obviously CFI is still the way to go.
Yeah.
And then just other little things. Again, education, volunteer work. Just you as a person. So it's rough.
I mean, I'll tell you I mentioned my journey process and what it was like.
Not really.
Getting to the, well, I was at Transpec when Transpec had a partnership with American Eagle.
Right.
Back when it was American Eagle, it wasn't Envoy. The American Eagle has an umbrella now where everybody flies underneath that brand.
Right.
When I got hired on, that's when they just switched that to that and came up with the name Envoy. But anyways, it was just when they were just getting out of the nobody was hiring phase. So it was still difficult to get hired.
And then back then, that was really no one's hiring phase.
Yeah. So which means, well, I'll ask you if you're doing this now, because I don't know. Are they doing, back then you're doing interview, a little test, you're doing a little, admin quiz or whatever, and you're doing a sim, right? So you're doing your HR stuff, the practical stuff, and you're doing a sim, a standard, and then obviously you have to be dressed, your documents have to be in order, and then they send all your paperwork a week ahead to study. So you got to study your profiles, your call-outs, have those stuff memorized and ready to go, ready to be tested, kind of thing. And I was married back then, and my ex-wife really helped out. And the great thing about it, I was a flight instructor. I was very proficient. That's probably the most proficient I was when it comes to like basic instrument flying, the basic stuff, But I went in there. I think we had like 12, 13 people that showed up that day, and they sent you instructions.
This was for the interview?
Yeah, they send you you're selected to do this interview, blah, blah, blah. These are the documents. We want these documents in these order.
Yeah.
We want your logbook to be, each page need to be, tabbed with each hour of what you had.
Yeah.
And then also where you made the minimum hours for each area, for like a 250-hour ATP, the night ATP, all that stuff had to be tabbed where it was met for ready to go and organized and clean. And then each document had to be in, you wanted to bring these documents and they need to be in this order, how we sent it, kind of thing. And then they send you to your hotel and everything and whatever. So you show up, you get there, and you're in a room, and then I was able to go and like online and check to see what is what and research it, and it was correct. It was like on par of what was going to happen. One thing that said specifically.
Did you pay for that, or did you just find some free stuff?
I just find some free stuff. Yeah,
both worlds out there.
Yeah, one thing that said specifically is that if they call your name, and say come, if they call your name and say come with us, you're good. If they call your name and says, bring your stuff and come with us, your ass is going home.
Pack it up.
Yeah. And it really was like that. Everybody knew. Like, we all knew that it was like that. Like, if they call you and say, bring your stuff, you're going home. And the majority of people got sent home for organization.
Yeah, I still see things and hear of things like that. The logbook is messed up. Well, and you just can't follow instructions. You're done.
I would say 60% of everybody got sent home for organization. They'll collect your logbook and say, okay, look at your logbook, and then they'll call you and then send your ass home because it's not your logbook and paperwork. So there's paperwork of, I forgot what it was. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that you had to fill out, and they were supposed to be in order. Like, this is supposed to be on top. This is supposed to be the second paper or whatever it is. And they'll call, they'll come back, John, whatever, bring your stuff. And you can see him going,
yeah, going home, John.
Yeah, you're going home. But that was the process. And then most of the people went home for organization. I would say like 60%, and then maybe 50%, and then 40% went home. So 50% went home because the paperwork was just not to par. And it was simple as just this document was supposed to be the second document, but it was the fourth document. Stuff like that back then, or stuff weren't filled out correctly, or your work history doesn't add up.
Right.
There's a big gap between 2000. Like, why is there a big gap between 2000 and there's nothing mentioned in it?
Right. No school, no nothing.
At least mention it. And then so 50% got sent home because the paperwork wasn't organized, and then I would say 40% got sent home for the simulator for flying capabilities.
Like, what kind of simulator did they put you in?
For me, I think it was a Bonanza when I was.
Interesting. I had no idea. I've never heard of anything going on now. I
don't think. Do they even do sims anymore?
No, I don't think until you're training.
Yeah, I don't think they. Back then, you did.
They
sim.
can't. Yeah.
Back then, I did sim when I got hired on at what I'm working at now. I got into it was a 777 sim. I jumped. Well, it was a design. It was designed and made 777. It wasn't the actual sim, but they had one in the training facility, and it was a 777 design. Everything, and I had a captain next to me, and I sat down, and I just had to know the flow.
I was gonna say, how do you do that if you don't understand the airplane yet?
Yeah, you just have to know. Well, yeah, you knew the flow, the call outs. They wanted to hear you say the call outs, and then you're flying, so you're telling them what you want. So they tell you what you're supposed to do, and that's not a thing. Can you basically follow instructions? They tell you.
Right.
They tell you, okay, when you get into the sim. Don't be touching things and button. They'll tell you. Tell the guy what you want. Ask him for it. Okay, he's gonna make call outs. When they make call outs, you should follow up with your call outs, kind of thing. So if he says positive rate, you're supposed to say
gear up.
You're supposed to know these things, right? Because you're supposed to study it because it's in the packet they sent you, kind of thing. And then but going back to Envoy, So a lot of people were getting sent home for, it was a Bonanza, and it was the call outs. You had to do the call outs. And memory items. You had some memory items you had to do as well. And then you would ask you while you were flying, and there were speeds and stuff like that. And then you're supposed to maintain on your approach. You're supposed to fly.
Interesting.
And then
kind of sounds like fun, other than how many nerves you would have running through your head.
Yeah,
Holy
it's
crap.
If you're proficient. Well, I don't know what it is now, but they gave you a hold. So they gave me, and I was the only one that had my knee board. I brought my knee board with me because I was an instructor. The only one, which because of that reason, I stood out.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So he's like, oh, you're the only one here that was smart enough to bring in a knee board or whatever it is, your knee pad, So that stood out, and I had everything. And he gave me a hold, and I was really proficient because I was doing instrument CFI.
Right.
I was teaching the thing, so I was very, very proficient on it. So it was very easy for me to decode what it was asking me, And I knew I did well because he made me land.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so when I came in, I was doing approach, and I was on speed, like coming in, and it's like I was landing. It's like I knew I did very well because he made, like, nobody else landed. They'll cut you off when you're on the, once you accept the approach, you're coming in, they're like, okay, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, but at least you have an idea what you're doing. But I knew I did very well when he made me actually coming in and
did you
touch
just
down.
Slam it down?
No. Well, you couldn't tell because there was no, it was just a simulator.
Yeah.
Kind of thing,
Like a Frasca or whatever.
Yeah, whatever the hell it was, kind of thing. And then I did the interview, like the HR stuff, and it was just a laugh. We're just having fun in there, kind of thing. And they asked me, when you come in on your approach, that's just because you probably know this or not. When you come in on your approach, you get down to your minimums, right? So you get down to, you get down to DA.
Okay.
All right. It's like, what are you looking for? And I was like, runway.
All right.
And they looked at each other like, oh, that's good enough.
Well, that's one of them. That's one of like the 6 or whatever.
Yeah, they're like, that's good enough. Yeah. But all that list of, I was like, you runway. I don't know, but it was a good.
But if you're at a DH though, you could look for something else that could get you a little bit lower.
On the DH?
Decision height. So like if you're on ILS or whatever, you can be looking for the.
Well, it's the same thing, right? It's just that one is
approach lighting and things like that.
Well, the DH one is just
another 100 feet down. We're getting in the weeds. I'm kind of just trying to use my brain right now so I don't fall because I don't teach instruments now. Yeah. So I'm trying to do whatever I can.
Well, I have to know because I still fly instrument. But yeah, when you get to DA, or it just depends on what the approach is. But when you get to DA, you're looking for those lights, and you can go down 100 feet below,
right.
100 feet below your decision altitude.
Then try to get the runway.
And then try to get runway. Correct. Yeah. Same thing with DH. It's just that one is based on, one is on your, one is DA, one is
decision altitude.
Yeah. Well, one is.
It's your altimeter, and then your DH is decision height, which is using your
AGL.
Like on some higher end airplanes, you're using your barometric or your.
Well, that's the only difference. Is one is your based on your altimeter setting, and the other one is just based on your
reading above the ground,
your radio altitude,
right?
Kind of thing.
Yeah, there you go.
But we don't. I've never really seen a approach that had a DH, in a long time. Other than if you're doing like a Cat 2 or Cat 3,
right.
Whatever it is, you won't get into that stuff. I'll get into that stuff one of these days and talk about what that looks like, kind of thing. But I came back. Well, I came back to the when I was doing that. I came back to the room and there was one person left. I was about to go to the sim. Everybody else got sent home.
Holy cow!
Yeah. So either I'm the only one that got hired on that day, or that dude that was going to the sim got hired on. It's okay. I'm not on the thing here.
Keep going.
Pause it. You don't hear it. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. But that's how picky they were back then.
What? How many hours were you at roughly total time at that point?
When I did the interview, you interviewed before you were at 1,500 hours.
Okay, so they still had hope approaching the 1,500.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was at a flight school that was high volume flight school that was doing a lot of hours. So Transpac was one of those. I could fly 8 hours a day.
Yeah,
minimum. Kind of
well,
thing.
I was just thinking like when we had Cameron on a long time ago, he was on like he was an instructor and he couldn't get an interview until he was at like almost 2,500 hours. Remember him saying that?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when it was even rougher before that.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. When they were doing their time, when they were instructors.
So you're at the point where it started to open it up.
Yeah.
But they were still being, and we're going to pick the cream of the crop, right?
Yeah. It was exactly. It was just kind of transitioning to where the airline was hiring now, but they still had the option to go, well, we need the best candidate that can do that kind of thing. And it was tough. I mean, the training was, back then when I did it, oh my God. I mean, it was tough. Like, it was tough training.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, I'm just used to it now because I've done several platform, but man, it was tough. I mean,
well, you'll be helping me.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I make the jump, you'll be.
Yeah, but you're flying you can be on the 175 most likely if you get to the.
Yeah.
That aircraft is just, you can be lucky because I'm really familiar with that aircraft, and you can only teach that aircraft a certain way. You can't get too far off. So I'll know how to I know exactly what you're looking for.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
I'm going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 100%, man. System logic. That's what it's so automated. And we'll go through it. Yeah. So let's talk about. So that's my journey with that, and then I got obviously back then it was different. We're doing the candidate program. So even though they didn't give us a number, like an employee number, so we didn't have like we weren't part of seniority, but we had benefits. We had flight benefits and all that stuff.
When you got hired?
Yeah, when I got the job, I went back. I was technically back at Transpac, and technically, apparently Envoy was paying me. Apparently.
Oh, that's right, because you had to finish off your hours, huh?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Was that considered the cadet program at the point? Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed Envoy. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was there's a lot of things that I should have done different back then. You can talk about it. You're smiling. What are you smiling about?
Yeah, it was just funny because I remember you just being miserable at the time.
Yeah, was I at Envoy?
I think it was the traveling.
Oh, that's what I was about to say. There's a lot
Yeah.
of things that could have been done different. I wasn't talking about that. That I should have done. I probably should have lived in base.
Yeah, that's what I hear, man.
Moved
That's
it.
what everybody says.
Yeah, I probably should have moved to Dallas. That probably would have saved my marriage too if I had done that. But I had reasons that now probably wouldn't have. Thinking about it, I realized that wouldn't have made any difference.
It might have prolonged it, possibly, but
Yeah.
hindsight,
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's why I was like, what do you want to do? I was like, well, I know where I want to move because I want to get out of this freaking hot, deserty hole.
Where you want to move to?
Well, it doesn't really matter because with that in mind, what you just said, it's like that's probably where I'm going to end up because I've heard it from just about everybody that says live in base. If you want any kind of quality of life, live in base.
But the weather in Dallas is weird though. Like you get all kind of crap.
Yeah, what the airline that I'd be shooting for and the regional I'd be shooting for. And those of you who know, you could probably figure it out. I'll probably be looking at Houston. Would be my choice of bases if things went the way that I wanted them to.
What airline would that be?
United.
Oh,
long term.
Oh, the long term. Oh, okay.
So their regional partners would be who I'd be.
Who would that be?
SkyWest, Republic.
Oh, okay, got you.
And then there's like GoJet and Commute Air, but
okay. SkyWest, they still fly the CRJs, right?
They have ERJs too.
Yeah. Just so careful because sometimes they'll assign you the airplane. So you won't be able to
I don't know. I wouldn't let that stop me.
Okay.
If of course, everyone would prefer to be on the ERJ because, like you said, the technology in it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to hire me tomorrow, I'll go fly a CRJ.
Yeah, it does affect how you like jumping from like 145 to or even the ERJ. It doesn't matter because that's what everybody does, I guess.
But it depends on the base. I'm not sure that Houston for United Express flies CRJs out of Houston. I have no idea. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know either. Okay. Cool. We can kick on a few things and then if we want to finish up, we can. But there's one thing I wanted to talk about.
We'll have to pick this back up, though, and continue from medical on, getting started, like picking schools, picking an airplane, picking a flight instructor.
We should make this a segment, like when we, so we always come back to it. So we'll make this, call it a segment. I'll create like a logo for it, whatever it is. And then once we're in that segment, and then every episode we can jump back in this segment kind of thing.
And we'll diverge from becoming a private pilot to flying instrument approaches in a 767 because that's who we are. We're pilots and we talk.
You're right about all that stuff actually. As I'm, which is good. I'm learning. Obviously you're in the world about all that stuff about the we're talking about, which is good. That's what we should have. We shouldn't be scared to talk about topics and even if we don't agree on certain things, it's okay. These conversations. This was just good about the podcast. I mean, we can say things and like, no, I don't think that's correct, and then we just look it up and see who's right and wrong, right?
Yeah.
And then all that stuff there, based on everything I looked up, 100% of that stuff, based on what your Even you coming back and be like, I don't think you're right. You're like, maybe you're wrong about how you interpreted that. And I went and looked at, and you were right. And that's what I want this podcast to be. So
well, one thing I've learned in life, sadly, just within the last several years, has been, don't say you know for sure if you don't know for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So unless, I
100%. And the great thing about this is that, we can always go look it up and research it. And
right.
Nowadays with technology, you can get an instant correct answer right away kind of thing,
Well, we could talk about that a little bit better than we used to. When we first started the podcast, we used to get in some heated debates.
Oh, really? Heated debates is good, man. But now we don't have to because we can just go look it up.
Yeah. Well, we're both mature enough at this point where we'd be like, well, even if we disagree, we can disagree. Who cares?
Yeah, 100%. But we'll call this, what do you want to call this segment? Pilot progress with Captain's Log. I don't know. Career progress. We'll come up with something. And then we'll transition it in, and maybe we'll have it every whatever we feel like it. We can transition to it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But as we continue this here, I want to talk about before we go. I want to talk about, obviously there's a few things you need when you go to if you keep this in mind when you go to the training, and you stay ahead of this all the time, you'll be fine. And the key is to stay ahead of it. And how do you stay ahead of it? Is that if you're tired, if you're tired, you're up all day, whatever. There's a few things you just have to. Those are the things that you can test it on throughout training, and that flows is one. Is that my stomach or your stomach?
That was my throat. I'm getting. So I just took a sip, so I was like,
that's so funny. So your flows, call outs, profiles, memory items.
You're right.
And that's 4 things.
The other thing that I hear.
Yeah.
And again, that's what's good about some of our 141 schools is they beat that into you. Like even if it's shorter lists and whatnot, like right, you had to do it at Transpac. You have your flows, you have your checklist.
Yeah. So know your flows, and then don't just we'll talk about what that is in the next segment. But what gets a lot of people is that they'll know that you can memorize the flows, right, where it goes up and down, but each stop you have to know what you're doing each stop.
Sure.
Like if a flow says go to this section and touch that button, you're not just. That's not the flow. The flow is really not just go touch the button.
Right.
You got to know what you're doing when you get to that button, and that's what they test. And when you do the 175, it's an automated aircraft. Everything is automated and already in position. Your job is basically just to do a flow to check. A lot of times, if those are already in where it's supposed to be, and you have to know where it's supposed to. If you know where it's supposed to be, you're not going to know if it's correct. Right? Does that make sense?
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, and then they'll ask you, well, okay, what is it? Where is it supposed to be? And what are you looking for? You're like, oh, so that's what that is. Okay, so flow, memory items, okay, limitations, all right, and profiles. All right, profiles obviously. Did I say call outs? Or call outs as well.
Call outs, yeah.
Yeah, so those 5 things. So understand your profiles. When you start descending. Generally the same. Each company is different. Like, the company I fly with now, you get configured before you get to the final approach fix kind of thing. Ahead of time. Whereas an Envoy, you start getting configured at the final approach fix. Gear down and that's when they start slowing down. And it depends. So you want to know all that stuff, and then, what is considered as stabilized approach. And all those things. Let's talk about flow. All right, what a flow is, really what it is, and every airline does it the exact same way. So it's kind of important we understand what we're talking about. Okay, a flow is, obviously just a systematic way of checking for something by memory, to make sure it's whatever the system is at where it's supposed to be, or the button, whatever it is, items you check during the flow not necessarily on the checklist.
Right.
Yeah. So you just know you're supposed to do it. Like for example, On the 7.6, we do what's called like a pressurization kind of thing, where we pressurize. I guess that's not a flow because the captain calls for it, but you pressurize the fuel and all that stuff. I don't think that's not on the checklist. Like you're just supposed to know to do these things. You're supposed to know these are supposed to be in this position. I'll give you another thing. The altitude, like the pressurized altitude. So a lot of these aircraft, obviously the aircraft's pressurized, right? If you pressurize the aircraft and you don't put the proper pressurization altitude when you come in for a landing, it can cause the aircraft to, like if you land and the interior is a higher pressure than what it is. You ever heard of like a flight attendant getting sucked out of the cabin because they open the door and
on the ground?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and the aircraft, like the aircraft is so pressurized, like it's when they open the door, like it pulls them out or whatever.
Oh, jeez, no.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ideally, that the aircraft is supposed to dump the pressure once like the the nose, the wheel and pressure system gets on the ground or whatever it is. But it might not happen, kind of thing. But that's a flow thing. That's not on your checklist. Like you're just supposed to know to do that thing. So, pretty much you go in. A lot of times you go in. Before you do anything, you're doing a flow. You're doing flows to check. To make sure things are in proper position. Put them where they're supposed to be. Turn things on. And then the captain will call for like a checklist, and the checklist might not ask for things that you do the flow for. So I'm just want to bring that up. So on your check ride, your flow is one of the biggest thing they check for. Like, do your flow, and they want it to be systematically, verbatim. At times, you start here. Okay, what are you doing when you start here? And you go here, and you go here, you go across, you go up, you go right again, and then they'll ask you everything. What are you doing when you do it? You go there, kind of thing. So, just be ready for that kind of thing, But I want to talk about. I just wanted to mention that the flow is, do the flow and then read the checklist for the flow. You do the flow, and then your flow might be different from the captain's flow. So it's two completely different. Like you do the FO flow, like on the 7.6, I do everything in the overhead compartment and go all the way down. And then on my side of the pedestal, I go all the way down and all that stuff. I check the fire. Like, for example, on the 7.6, you check the fire system, and that's not part of the check. Like, there's no checklist for that. You just supposed to know to do it on your flow kind of thing. And the captain's flow, he's just setting up his panel. That's all his flow is. Altimeter.
Easy life.
So
that's why he gets the big bucks.
Well, it depends on the operator. Like on this, I think, and it depends on the operator. Like I think Mesa, I think the captain does everything in the flow. Like it's a captain's plane. He does everything.
Don't trust that FO.
A lot of regions are like that. Like regionals don't trust the FOs. It's weird. But yeah. All right. Anyways. I think it was a good episode. Shall we? What do you think? You want anything else you want to add?
No, I'm ready to go find some food.
Okay, what time is it? Okay, that sounds good. All right, CptsLogs Podcast brought to you by Open Geocraft. I'm joking.
Yeah.
All right,
not brought to you by Log 10 Pro.
Yeah, they need to pay us. All right, we'll be back in the pretty soon here. I just got to figure out what our next episode. This is episode 4.
Episode 4. Yeah, we're going to be taking a short break for a little while. You got a trip to take.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then we'll back probably in a couple of weeks. Probably around the 12th or something like that.
Some new guests.
Yeah, but we'll have a bunch of other stuff from the previous podcast ready to go. So, all right, guys, we'll talk soon. Somebody. Nobody yet. But I can't expect it. We got to promote it. I just got to do the promotions ahead of time. All right. Are we out, Mark?
Let's do it.
All right, buddy.
See ya.
Talk soon.